Now, let's go back to when you were younger. Obviously, you were in bands and things when you were younger, but let's start with your audition then for Jethro Tull. I read that you said it didn't go too well. You were very nervous at the time. So what's your memories? What's your recollections of that first audition?
Yeah, it was a complex run up to it because me and Ian were the two guys, the only two guys in England playing flute in the Roland Kirk style. So we sort of knew of each other through the grapevine, but had never heard each other and never met. So this was sort of going on, and you'd hear, "Oh, I went to see that guy who plays flute like you," and he was probably getting the same his direction. And finally, we played in Plymouth, which is where I live, near Plymouth, the Van Dyke Club. It was the opening night of the Van Dyke Club, which is an amazing place that they had pretty well every band from the UK, Cream, John Mayall, The Who, Pink Floyd. It was like the marquee, but it was here in Plymouth. So it was, this was the opening night, and it was Jethro Tull headline and Gethsemane, my band, supporting. So he was the big meeting we've been waiting for all these months. And we got on great, and we talked about the flute. We both played, and obviously very similar style. So I was playing flute and guitar, and my band was a blues band. So a few months later, Mick quits Jethro Tull. They're looking for a guitar player. They're trying to think who they know. They remember me, but they can't remember my name or the band I was playing in. So in the end, Terry Ellis, the manager from Chrysalis Records, found me, and he found me on the very. We were quitting because we just given up. We just been making no money for 3 years, and we finally going to call it a day. The very last gig, we were in London, and he found me, gave me his card, said, "Call," and I knew what it was because I'd seen the advert in the Melody Maker. I was too scared to apply. I didn't have the confidence. So there was the card, called me in the morning, go and audition for the guys. I turned up in Soho in this basement room, and the whole room is lined with guitar players all the way around the wall, with Clive and Glenn in the middle, playing, jamming to each one. Want to come up, jam. When Ian had enough, he'd tap Clive on the shoulder, and they'd stop and go, "Thank you, next." So it was this like doctor's
no pressure at all. Yeah,
it was horrible. It was hideous. So I mean, I didn't fall apart, but I was rubbish. I was so bad playing guitar. I said, "Shall I play a bit of flute?" I don't know why I said it. So I had I played some piece that I knew on flute, and that was really good. But that was no use. So okay, they had a short list of me, Tony Iommi, and I think wow, Mick Taylor. That they went for Tony. Tony didn't particularly meld with the music. Didn't suit him. He wasn't comfortable, and at the same time, I'd call Ian and I'd say, "Look, it was dreadful. I played really badly. What's going on?" Because there's another chance. I'd jump at it. There was. We had a rehearsal in Angel Islington in a pub all day. I learned a bit of their music. They learned a bit of mine, and there we go.
The chemistry was there, and it all worked out fantastically.
Yeah, well, I just something in me that I knew that was the gig, my gig, and I don't know why, because I was a very shy and not very confident musician, but I just knew it was meant to be.
Meant to be, indeed. Fantastic stuff, indeed. Yeah. In terms of Ian, then obviously he comes across his persona as a crazy English gent or something. What was he like in those early days?
Sort of larger than life. Amazing personality, and Scottish. He'd pick you up on that one, Scottish gent.
Yes.
I think I was a little bit in awe of him. So it took me a while to settle in, but I don't think the band believed I was the right guy for the job. We did a few gigs and people didn't like me because they knew Mick, they knew Jethro Tull as a blues band, and we weren't playing the blues, we were playing the music from stand up, and they didn't necessarily like it at all, and they wondered where Mick was and why the guitar player wasn't a blues guitar player. And then finally we did a gig in Manchester Uni, and we went down great. And me and Ian were backstage, and we were like, I was so relieved, obviously, but in a nicely, so was he, because he had made this decision, and he'd really put his neck on the line, and finally it was accepted. And the next week we're in Europe with Hendrix. So we were supporting Hendrix for a few weeks, and then America, recording stand up, America, crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Just mentioning Jimi Hendrix there. I mean, what was it like being around him? Because obviously he was a huge personality at the time.
Yeah. Well, I was petrified. The first year in Tull, I played with Jeff Beck, Hendrix, Mike Bloomfield, Frank Zappa.
Wow.
The list goes on. Like every great guitar player in the world that were all my heroes, I was having to play on stage before they came on, and Led Zeppelin. So I was terrified. But the first one was Hendrix. But he was the nicest guy on the planet, and he chatted to me. He knew the situation. He was just lovely. I mean, he was the perfect person to meet in that sort of league of amazing guitar players. So it was a tonic, and it sort of set me up to deal with other people, because it's sort of very intimidating, sort of being thrust into the Division One, and I was sort of a non-league player, so I just really was in at the deep end.